welcome to the September 2013 edition of MPS Today. We're excited to begin another great school year, and we have a wonderful show for you today. Today you'll meet our new superintendent, Mr. Mike Sharrow. You'll hear from our high school counselors in their latest Counselor's Corner, and we'll learn about the fruitful partnership between the Rock Youth Center and our middle schools. To start off the show, I'd like to remind you all the different places you can catch our programming. Every show, concert, game, and other program that we tape is available on your local cable channel 98, on UVerse, which is new for this school year, on our YouTube site, www.youtube.com/user/Midland Public Schools, and many of our shows are also available on the school websites. So for example, the Counselor's Corners from today will be on the high school sites, and the segment on the Rock Youth Center and the middle schools will be available on the middle school websites as well. Well, what better way to start off a new school year than by meeting our new superintendent, Mr. Mike Sharrow. Mr. Sharrow, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Scott.
Now, you've been working with us for several months now, and many people in the community have already met you. But for folks that haven't, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you before you came to MPS, and where did you grow up?
It's ironic, I grew up in Algonac, the town that I most recently was superintendent in. Okay. And so I'll give you the roundabout trip where I've been in my life. I'm a CMU grad. When I got done playing baseball at Central, I had an opportunity to play a little further. I did that for a while, and I was in Wisconsin. And at that point in time, I needed to find a teaching job, and that was 1985. And there wasn't a lot of jobs for social studies majors, so I ended up going down to Houston, Texas. I spent 11 years in Houston, Texas as a teacher and a coach. Had the opportunity to return to Algonac as an administrator. I was an assistant principal, and eventually superintendent of my hometown of Algonac, and got a call, I believe, late March, early April last year from the search group doing the search for Midland Public Schools, and that convinced me that I should take a good, deep look at Midland Public Schools. I wasn't really looking to leave my hometown, but really thought Midland was a great place to be, and here I am. Great.
Well, as a social studies person, I appreciate that connection. I was a social studies and English teacher myself. So, now you said you played a little baseball. What did you? Where did you play in the field? And do you still stay in touch with the game? Or?
Oh, I love the game. I follow it closely. I was a catcher, and while I was in Texas, I had the opportunity to coach at a high level. I've coached some major leaguers and a lot of Division I baseball players. One of my former players are still playing today as a 38-year-old. So, yes, I love the game of baseball.
Well, I know from listening to the Tigers broadcast that Jim Price says the catchers are the smartest guys in the field. So you must agree with him.
That's why all 8 of the rest of them face you. You're the leader of the group.
Oh, is that what it is? So, all right. Well, did you know, you probably know also that Terry Collins, the manager of the Mets, is a Midland High School graduate. So.
Yeah, I did. And Terry was in Houston at the same time I was in Houston as the Houston manager. So I ran into him. He would not know me, so that'd be a stretch there.
Right, but there's a connection there too, so how about that? Well, how about your family? How are they enjoying the move?
Yeah, me and my wife and 2 dogs at this point. So I have 3 adult children. Part of the move, the ability to move, was that my 3 adult children are all out of state at this point. And my oldest is a Auburn University grad, and he is in Atlanta as a logistics major. And my second is an assistant principal in Evansville, Indiana. She's a CMU grad. And my third is a U of M grad who's in her 3rd year as a law student at Loyola in Chicago. And so they're all out of state. And surprised mom and dad took the move, but we've really enjoyed Midland. We moved in officially 2 weeks ago, so it's been kind of fast and furious the last few days.
Sure, to be a fast start to the school year for you guys. Now, you mentioned already some of the jobs that you held before you became a superintendent. What inspired you to become a building level administrator and then to move on into to be a superintendent? Why would anybody want to be a superintendent these days, I guess, is another way to ask that.
You know, I had a great mentor, and I speak of him a lot, and I did a lot in the interview as well. And he was just one of those personalities that could convince you to do just about anything. And when I first came, he convinced me to come to Algonac. He convinced me to be a principal, and then convinced me to be a superintendent. When he used to talk to me about being a superintendent, I tell him all the time, I don't want to be one of those. And he kept telling me, yeah, you do. And the opportunity to affect the whole organization was what attracted me to that position. It is a tough time to be one, tough time to be a school board member. A lot of tough decisions at this time. And so at times that's not fun. But I think I mentioned the other day in our opening breakfast, I kind of had a breaking point 3 or 4 years ago where I decided that with all this change and all these tough decisions, I'm going to look at the opportunity that we have presented in front of us, and that's we're going to change education more than it's ever been changed in the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure, there's no question. Well, what attracted you to Midland Public Schools?
You know, when they first asked me, I said no.
Okay.
So just so you know that part of it, and they told me you need to research more about Midland Public Schools in the Midland area. And I said, well, I know Midland.
And you had to be happy being in Algonac where you grew up, right?
Very happy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I wasn't looking to leave. Thought I'd end my career there. They talked about the parallels between some of my skill sets in Midland. And then they said, you need to do more research about Midland. Like so many people, I probably said to them, well, I know Midland. I went to school in Mount Pleasant. I drive through Midland, but I really didn't know Midland. And then when I began to research about the community, and I think I keep using these words, but I'm surprised the number of people here who understand what a healthy community is all about, and obviously education's a part of that, and they understand that. So I think that's what brought me here.
Okay, great. Well, we all know, and you referenced this already, it's a dynamic, changing time in education nationwide and also in the state of Michigan, and a challenging financial time. With that in mind, what are your priorities for the school year?
I think we have a few priorities as a district, and so for me, the board and I have decided that we'll sit down and have a strategic planning session by December, and so that was the introductory period. But at the same time, we can't sit still. There's a lot of things to be done. Obviously, we still got a budget hole to fill, and so we're using fund balance to balance our budget, and you can't keep doing that, and we're going to have to solve that issue as well. And then we have the issue of what had occurred last spring, where we failed a couple millages, and we have to redirect with the new tech problem-based learning issue. We are already going to enter into the primary years program and continue to go forward with IB. We're going to explore if IB should be put into the middle school as well. Then I think with the closing of the elementary schools that you've closed, and now Central Middle School, we have the issue long-term of our facilities. And so we have some facilities that we got to take a look at and say, what is the plan for those empty facilities? And then we have some other facilities, if you look at long-term, that are near end of life cycle. And so we have some other issues to look at and decide just what is it we need to come back and talk to our community about the future of Midland Public Schools and where we're going. So there's a lot to be done in a short period of time.
There'll be no wondering about trying to find something to do, right?
Correct.
What are some strategies that you like to implement? If we focus for a moment on the students in the classroom, for them to be successful and to be better prepared, not just for success in elementary, middle, and high school, but for the world when they leave high school or when they leave college. What are some ideas that you have there? Yeah,
and that's what we're all about, right?
Yeah,
it's the student success, and that's the focus that we have to take everything to. And we talked about the change, how we are changing in education. It's really about the delivery of instruction, and for me, it's really about that students and parents are demanding a personalized education. And so we have to learn to personalize the education for each and every individual. And obviously technology is going to be a tool that we're going to be able to do that with. And so that leads me into another passion area that I have, because I really believe the answer to that is blended learning. And so you've seen online learning where it stands alone by itself, and there's a piece missing there, and that's that mentor, the teacher component. And so we have to talk a little more about blended learning, and I think that's the future. How we're going to personalize education for every child.
You know, and the interesting thing about it taking a blended approach is that you take advantage of the technology and the resources that are there, which are wonderful, and then you also take the best thing about what we already do, which is the teachers, these caring, educated professionals that connect with our students and help them make good decisions, help them learn. Any way we can combine those two things would be wonderful for our kids, wouldn't it?
I agree, absolutely agree.
Well, what about Midland so far? How you've seen many opening of the school years, and we're just about into the start of this school year. How's this one shaping up for you?
You know, it really feels good, and I think that feeling is out there about excitement and new because of new leadership. that won't last long. So we have to play off of that. And so when I have to begin to start making those first tough decisions, I think the union president said it best the other day. She said she laughed about Mr. Delinsky's comment about the superintendent being a jerk and he was being fictitious. But and she said she would never say that. And back in my head, I kind of said, well, not yet.
Yeah.
You know, and so those days are yet to come. But we have to play off the energy and excitement of the school year and the start of the school year, and in order to get the initiatives off the ground that we were talking about, from moving further into the IB process, you know, if we are going to continue with problem-based learning, and where are we going to go with our facilities, and how are we going to solve that budget hole as well.
Right.
So.
I think it's important when we talk with community members, when we talk with parents, when we talk with internally with our staffs, that we're focused on student success, right? And whether you're talking about new tech, whether you're talking about the IB program at the primary years level, whether you're talking about technology, blended learning, facilities, all of it ties into how do we help create students that will be successful when they're here, and then even more importantly, when they leave us and go off into the world, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they're heading into a different world than you and I, and we have to prepare them for that.
Yeah, we have to prepare them for the future, not the past.
Correct.
Right? All right. It's a great challenge to have and on a wonderful mission. Well, Mr. Sharrow, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. And I'd like to say on behalf of everyone at Midland Public Schools, welcome to Midland, and we look forward to working together.
Thanks, Scott.
Well, up next, we'll hear from our high school counselors in the latest edition of the Counselor's Corner. And after that, we'll learn about the great collaboration between the Rock Youth Center and our middle schools. So stick around for more MPS Today right after this message.
Get your ass suit. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why are you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Hi, welcome to Counselor's Corner. My name is Craig Hawkins. I'm a counselor at Midland High, and this is Lori Halber, counselor at Dow High. We're here today to talk about some things that are important for the month of September. First thing, obviously, is students are coming back to class. They're excited to come to school. We're excited to have everybody. And academics start pretty quick. Now, if your student is doing great in school, the beginning of the year, that's wonderful. But sometimes in the transition, whether it's from 8th grade to 9th grade or 5th grade to 6th grade, whatever that may be, sometimes students start out slow and they may struggle a little bit. Well, we're here to help with that. One thing we want to do is to have every student start out the year well. So there are a lot of different things that students can do to start out and have a successful beginning of the year. If they are having problems, we want them to make sure they contact their teacher, say, I'm having problems, I'm not understanding what's happening. And there are a lot of things that can happen on the teacher standpoint. They could spend more time with them, they could meet with them before school, after school, whatever works in both of their schedules. Also, in counseling, we can help students that begin the year and struggle. There is tutoring available, so we would like them to come down and see us. And again, we can help set up tutoring without any cost to the parent. That's done through our National Honor Society students. Also, if they are having problems, say they've failed a class, if they're a sophomore or junior, we can do a couple of different programs for them to recover some of their credits. E-2020, which is an online program that we have for upperclassmen, they can make up those credits. So there are a lot of things we can do to try to help students start out the year well, be successful, but we need them to come and see us and also talk to the teacher to make sure that that happens as well.
All right, so we're thinking about this school year, but seniors are already thinking about next school year. They're thinking about what college they want to apply to and where they might want to attend for their graduate classes. The college applications are being completed right now by seniors, and we use October 31st or Halloween as our deadline. But the more competitive the college is, the earlier that students want to get those applications in. Most applications are done online, and there are a few that are done through what's called the Common app. This application, students will check the box to which schools it'll send to, which in Michigan is University of Michigan, and then many out of state as well. But for this application, as well as many other college applications, students need letters of recommendation. They should ask their teachers a few weeks in advance so that they have time to write a nice letter. And along with asking a teacher to write a letter of recommendation for them, they should also give the teacher a resume or a listing of activities that they've been involved in, just to help give the teacher or whoever's writing the letter a little more information about each student. Then after the student has done their application, they'll want to go to parchment.com. It's how we send the high school transcripts to colleges along with the application. Now, if students are still trying to decide which college they're interested in, at Northwood University on October 3rd, there is college night. And there'll be a lot of different representatives from in-state and out-of-state colleges. And students can go and talk to them, pick up information, and just find out a little bit more about each college.
And another important thing going on in September, we have the PSAT test, which is actually an October test, but the PSAT is a practice SAT test. And the SAT test is one of those exams that colleges use for their entrance requirements. Also, the ACT is another test that they use. So the PSAT, which is a junior test that juniors will take at the beginning of that junior year, like I said, in October. But we start registration at the end of September, and that registration process is done in the schools. It's done where they register at their individual high school. And also there's a $15 payment that they will make at the high school. So all that is done internally. And that's an important test for kids, particularly juniors that are looking to go on to college. It's a good practice, standardized test. So again, if you're interested in doing that, you just need to register at the individual high schools. And we'll talk about that a little bit more for the October session as well. But that essentially goes from the end of September, the registration process, until October 10th. And we'll have a lot of announcements at the high schools, so your juniors will know, they'll know where to go, they'll know the whole process that's involved. Another part that we want to make sure that students know is, how do you get into CS? Some of the upperclassmen, they're old pros, they know exactly how to do that. But some of the younger students may not exactly know. So at Midland High, because both those high schools are a little different on how that happens, at Midland High, students can come in and see their counselor anytime they want to. Our door is always open. But they need to come down to the counseling center, and there's a slip that they will fill out. There's a blue box right there that they put that slip into, and on that slip they put their counselor's name, what they would like to see us about, and we have different bullets that they can check. They put it in the blue box, and then we get it, and we will send a pass for them in one of their hours for them to come down and see us. So that's the process in order to see one of the high school counselors at Midland High.
And at Dow High, students will come into the counseling center, which is right next to the main office. And they will talk to Kim Clark, our office professional, and she has our calendar. She'll find out what hour works best for that student and put their name down, and we will send them a pass. So students should go to class first, then they'll receive a pass to come and see us, and then they'll be able to meet with their counselor, and we'll sign the pass and send them back to class then. That's this month's edition of Counselor's Corner. Please join us again next month for other important high school news.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids
you.
how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Welcome back to MPS Today. In our final segment, we'll take a look at one of our community partners, the Rock Youth Center, and the work that they do at both of our middle schools, at Jefferson and Northeast Middle School. Here to explain are the Executive Director of the Rock Youth Center, Bev Wenzel, and Northeast Middle School Assistant Principal Lori Pritchard. Bev and Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, to start off, tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do.
Well, I'm the Executive Director at the Rock, and I've been there 10 years. And I do a little bit of everything. And we're a small enough organization that we all kind of pitch in and we make the programming work and everything that needs to be done to run a nonprofit.
Sure. What is the goal of the Rock Youth Center?
We serve 6th through 12th grade students, and that's our focus. It always has been our focus. And our goal is to help create successful adults. So we work with teens to help them be successful, to help them thrive, to give them the tools that they need to grow into adulthood and be able to be successful in their teen years as well.
Okay. And Lori, how about you?
I'm the assistant principal at Northeast Middle School, and this will be my 4th year there. And prior to that, I was at Midland High as assistant principal. And one of the great things about my job is that I get to be creative a little bit with what we do at Northeast. And one of the things that we did last year was pilot this collaborative effort to bring programs to Northeast. And so with my job as assistant principal, which generally includes attendance and discipline and any day-to-day things, I also get to explore other options kind of like this. And so that's what brings me here today.
Great. And we should clarify, too, you're here from Northeast, but the Rock Youth Center program is at both Northeast and Jefferson, right? So it's a great program that's district-wide. So everything we say that applies Northeast applies there as well. Well, what about the students that are involved? How do they get involved in the program, and what do they do?
Well, the students get to choose to be in the program. It's really set up, we're doing it immediately after school gets out until 5:30 p.m. So it's there to accommodate parents' schedule. And our goal of the program is to do all these wonderful things, but also make sure the kids are in a safe environment. Keep them, minimize the home alone time, minimize the in front of TV time, that sort of thing. With us doing tutoring, we're doing games, we have snacks, we have all sorts of interactive activities. We'll be welcoming other community partners to come in and do special projects with the students. There'll be a lot of variety there. So the kids pick to come in. They have to have fun. If they don't have fun, they're not going to stay.
Sure.
We will sneak in some learning on the side, and they probably won't even recognize it, so parents shouldn't be too concerned if the kids come home and saying they have a great time. They're still getting some character development and life skills in that. But parents can decide too. I mean, if the parents want their kids in an environment like that, I think parents are going to be the biggest driver.
Sure, of course. Now, Lori, if you're talking with a student in the hallway or in your office and you're trying to get them interested in the program, what will you tell them about it?
Well, I'm going to have a good idea of some of the kids that I would like to steer in that direction, because those are kids that perhaps have no, maybe they're in the off season of athletics, or maybe they're not an athlete, or maybe they don't have any other connections to the school with any clubs or other activities. And so those kids, sometimes they linger after school until 5 o'clock, and we really want them to have a safe, supervised place to be. And so I'll be talking to them in the office, and I'll say, have you considered doing something like the Rock after school? It's in the cafeteria, and it's fun. There's snacks. Those two things get any middle school age child interested.
What was the thought process? What was the inspiration behind setting up this program?
Well, I think that it was a couple of things, and I'll let Bev speak to their intention to reach out to the kids and to the community. But in terms of Northeast and Jefferson, we had a population of students that just didn't have a place to go, and the middle school age student particularly, they're not able to drive. They're still, 6th grade is 11 years old, and they're in a place where maybe they're not old enough or mature enough to be left alone for an extended period of time. And so we wanted to provide something. We tried something out separate from the pilot program that we did last year with the Rock. And it was really, really hard because it was just like a structured homework hour, and the kids really weren't interested. We do have something that we call homework hangout, which is a little bit different, but we were just running into barrier after barrier of how can we do this. The staff, we don't have the staff, the financial support, all of these kinds of things are just running into issues. And so when the Rock had extended out to us as an opportunity, we were jumping on that bandwagon very quickly because it sounded in many ways way too good to be true, and I'm learning it is way too good to be true, but it is true. And I'll let you explain about why you were reaching out.
Well, we've done after-school programs since the Rock opened in 2001. And our focus is middle school and high school students during that time. And we have a lot of fun with them, and we've been successful with the program. But we've always wanted to extend our reach. There are more young people out there that need us, that need those positive adult role models, that need that fun, that need that connection, as you were saying. So we were looking for opportunities to open, if you would, satellite locations. And one of the issues that we find, as Lori said, this age group doesn't drive. Well, it is very limiting to them to get to different places. So you could not expect students to come to the Rocks location after school because transportation was a major issue.
Right.
So it made more sense for the entire community to take the programs to where the students were at. And the fact that Northeast and Jefferson were open to us was perfect. I mean, it's something we had hoped to do for a long time.
Mm-hmm. The other thing too is with the Legacy Center has been really getting their word out about the 40 developmental assets for adolescents. And you know, they will talk to our parents and to the community about how at the middle school there starts to be a decline in the attainment of these assets, and basically what the assets are character qualities that students possess that minimize their chances of being at risk or making poor choices. And with the collaboration of the ROC within the schools, it's providing them access to additional assets and supports and people and adults and role models. And it's our hope that, you know, we'll be contributing to the good character that we want all of our kids to be.
You know, the Legacy Center is a great partner in many ways, it sounds like with the ROC, and we know at the schools as well. And the idea of the 40 developmental assets is so true, you know, and the idea that the more these assets students attain, the less likely they are to do things that will cause them problems. The better off we all are. And we know, right, from research and from study that like you were just saying, Lori, students gain those assets in a large part from the adults in their lives up through about the middle school age, through about 6th, 7th grade. And at that point, you know, community members and peers become a greater influence. And so if we can put them in a positive environment with positive peer relationships, then it's only good things are going to happen from that, right?
Absolutely.
Well, speaking to that, what results have you seen? What benefits have you seen at Northeast, and what have you seen at the ROC Youth Center?
Well, at Northeast, we did the 8-week pilot last year, and you know, just after school and talking with the kids and just chit-chatting with them about their experiences with what we're doing. It was just a shortened version. We only did it from 3 till 3:45, which was really the only major drawback because the kids wanted it to be a lot longer.
Sure.
They were having fun. They seemed very eager and excited to go. I actually had a young lady who was going on to, she's going to be a 9th grader this year, say, I'm staying in 8th grade this year because I want to do the ROC again. And I'm like, well, you know, that might not be a good idea, but we can connect you. She can stay connected with the ROC, you know, but she really loved it. And a lot of the kids felt that way. They had a blast. And it was a connection to the school, and in some of the cases, not all the cases, they didn't ever have before.
And Bev, how about you? What was your perspective at the end of the year?
Well, we knew we wanted to come back and do it again, so we were happy to be welcomed back. You know, we've had the opportunity of watching these kids build lifelong relationships with the adults that are in the programs with them. And we are that next trusted adult, that one that is there when the parents aren't necessarily there. And the relationships become very real and very strong. The ROC is very relational based, and that comes out in these programs. A lot of times we see the students that maybe aren't, it's for everybody. So you have the students that are exceeding and excelling and they're doing fantastic. They're going to come in, they're going to have fun, they're going to have a good time. You might have a student that's struggling. Maybe you have one that has a little harder time making friends. Maybe you have one that isn't quite sure how they fit. And our staff does an excellent job of integrating those students and helping to build their self-worth and their self-esteem and helping them to build relationships with their peers. So you're building a relationship with adults, but you're also building very positive peer relationships.
And those are important skills. I mean, those are skills that sometimes we have to help students develop, right?
Correct.
Well, what about the cost? Is there a charge to be involved in the program, or how does that work?
Well, we talked about that a lot up front,
sure.
trying to figure out a way to make a program like this be successful and viable. We know we want this program to be around a long time. The need is here today. We do not see the need going away in the future. So the conversation was, how do we do that? How do we raise the funds to do it? So we've done a couple of things. It's a legged stool approach, if you will.
Yeah.
We are asking the families who can afford to help support the program to help support the program. And the fee that we established as a general rule that we thought was fair was basically comes down to $3 a day if they pre-register their youth, $5 a day if they do a drop-in. Of course, the lower price being there so we can, anticipate staff needs and anticipate food and that sort of thing. But we really want to get the message out that absolutely no one will be turned away. So if for any reason that fee is a hardship on the family, if they can afford part of it, great. If they can't afford any of it, that's fine too. Their students are still welcome. Maybe they can help with snacks once in a while. That would be wonderful. Maybe they can help volunteer. Maybe they're at a season in life where we just need to take their student into our program, and we are happy to do it. So yes, there's a fee, but it's not a fee that should ever keep anybody away.
Sure.
We have also discussed how Northeast can help support the program, and given the financial situation with the district, which is everybody in Michigan is facing financial hardship, but we'll be asking our staff and any parents that want to donate or bring in non-perishable food items, like a couple cases of Capri Suns or a couple of cases of water or some pre-portioned, crackers, or even the quantity, the commercial size quantity in some baggies so that they can be portioned out. Anything like that, if parents want to drop those off to any of the offices at Northeast or Jefferson, would help to offset the cost of the food, which adds up after time.
Sure.
And so
teenagers can eat a lot, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
kids.
boy.
Oh, yeah. So that's another way that we're helping to offset some of the costs of the program.
So how does a parent who's listening who wants their child to get involved do that?
Well, they can go to either of the school offices, and there's registration forms there. There's registration forms and information on our website and yours, right? They can call the Rock.
What's the number there?
835-2542.
Okay.
Or they could call Northeast, 923-5772.
Okay.
But we will, or the kids can come in after school and show up and ask. And that would be the best way for them to get a feel for whether that's something that's going to interest them.
So they should go to their school office, or they can call or email, I'm sure, the Rock or Jefferson or Northeast Middle Schools to get involved.
Absolutely.
All right.
One other thing, Scott, if I might, the program will run 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, every day that school's open.
Okay. Great. Well, what a wonderful program. We really appreciate the work that you're doing. Research has shown time and time again, as you know, the more positive connections we can help our students make, the better off they're going to be, the more good decisions they'll make, right? So thank you for doing that, and thanks for your work with our middle school students.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for today. Remember, you can watch our show on your local cable channel 98 and on UVerse, also on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/Midland Public Schools. Our shows are often available at the school websites as well. For example, this segment will be available on the Northeast and Jefferson Middle School sites. So have a great start to the school year, and we'll see you next time on MPS Today.